Great. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming to class number 3 for the Unifying Consciousness Tarot. And I'm Lori Lytle, one of the co-creators of the Unifying Consciousness Tarot. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to get into tonight's material with you. Okay. So what are we going to do in our hour together today? So in this class, we are going to get to know the Minor Arcana, because first class we did sort of an introduction and orientation to the deck as a whole. Then last time we talked about the Major Arcana, so we're going to go into the minors tonight. I love seeing everybody's comments in the chat. So we're going to find out what the heck are the Minor Arcana and how to get to know them and work with them, and how we have adapted them and changed them for the Unifying Consciousness Tarot. But essentially, we're going to talk about suits, elements, numbers, ranks, and help you to get to know this part of the deck so that you can read the cards confidently and start to get comfortable with all the various parts of it. All right, so first of all, thank you so much for everyone who has supported this journey, this adventure that Leo and I have been on in the creation of the Unifying Consciousness Tarot. So this journey of many leaps of faith, lots of highs and lows, joy, connection, soul searching. So thank you. And we hope that you're going to experience the same kind of transformation and healing that we have experienced as we created the deck. Okay, and so let's start with the title card in the deck and take a moment to just take a breath and arrive and ground ourselves, connect with everybody who's here. And the title card we offer to you as a blessing or an intention that you can set for our time together today, and also for your practice with the Unifying Consciousness Tarot. So I offer you this blessing. May you be guided by the unifying consciousness of love. So let's dive right in, because we've got a lot that I want to share with you tonight, and let's see how much we can get through without me completely bombarding you with more details than everything that you never knew that you wanted to know about the Minor Arcana. So let's dive in and start to get to know this part of the deck. Okay, so as I said, last time we talked about the Major Arcana, that part of the deck. So Major Arcana, the big secrets, big mysteries, right? So now we're looking at the Minor Arcana. So the smaller secrets, maybe, I don't know, lesser, smaller secrets. But I want to start off just by saying that the Minor Arcana are just as important as the majors, right? They play a crucial role in reading the tarot. They're a crucial part of your tarot deck, but they are different than the majors. They have a different kind of power and energy, right? And so I see the Minor Arcana as kind of stepping stones that help us move between the Major Arcana, because as we talked about last time, the Major Arcana are those big milestones and life lessons that we experience throughout our time here in this physical form, right? And I think staying in the majors all the time would be really exhausting, right? I don't think it would be sustainable. So thankfully we have time in the minors as well. So the Minor Arcana are representing the beauty and the challenges that we experience in our daily lives, right? And so as such, oftentimes when Minor Arcana cards appear, it's letting you know that you have a little bit more control over the situations that you're encountering, right? A little bit more room to navigate or direct rather than just experience like the majors. And I do think that the Minor Arcana help us with the majors because they help us to move forward. They give us perhaps more practical action steps that we can actually do in our daily life to help us move forward. Okay, so what are the Minor Arcana if we get into the technical side of things? So the minor arcana are composed of 4 suits, and the traditional names for the suits are cups, wands, swords, and pentacles. And we have kept those names for the Unifying Consciousness Tarot because I do have a little bit of a traditional streak going through me. You might not know it from looking at the deck, but in that way, they're close to my heart and they make sense. So we kept those names. And within each of those 4 suits, the cards are divided, they're numbered. So they're divided from ace to 10, so ace being 1. And then there are also 4 court cards for each suit, kind of people cards, and we'll talk about those in more detail later. Okay. And so the minor arcana, each suit represents an aspect of our lives, right? I think that the minor arcana altogether, they illustrate what it is to have the human experience, right? They cover different aspects of our experiences throughout our lives. And as such, they have their own personality, they have their own characteristics and atmosphere and flavor, right? And to help you to relate to and get to know these suits and understand them, kind of resonate with them more deeply, each one of them is linked to one of the 4 elements: fire, water, air, and earth. And we've kept the same correspondence. I'll talk about that, but we've kept the same correspondences in the Unifying Consciousness Tarot as the traditional as well. So one change or addition, I guess, that we made to our minors, in our deck, you'll notice as we go through the cards and as you get to know your deck, you'll notice that there's a 3D shape that's kind of floating somewhere in the card, right? And these are Plato's solids, or the Platonic solids. So don't let that term sort of hit you or bring us down with that sort of technical term there. But the Platonic solids, they also relate to the 4 elements, right? The same 4 elements that our tarot deck relates to. So Leo and I felt like there was sort of a natural correspondence or connection by including them. And these shapes, these solids, are the building blocks of our reality, and they're harmonious and symmetrical. And so when you see them on the card, or why they appear on the cards, is giving this message to you when you're reading for yourself or you're reading for someone else, the message that there's always a potential to guide a situation to an outcome that allows for positive transformation. Okay? And that is not to say that when you read our deck that you're always looking for the bright side and putting away the difficulties or the challenges. No, right? It doesn't say, we're not saying that every situation can be resolved exactly as you wish it to be or as you want it to be. But we want to get the idea across that these cards can help you to find something positive to come out of it, some kind of transformational experience, right? And by including the shapes in the cards, we're also inviting you to use them as a focus of your intention, of energy. You could use it for meditation, because it's just another way to help you to connect with the element that the card is a part of, right? And so we'll talk about those a little bit more, but it's sort of like I really like actual physical talismans, right? And touchstones. So it's like we've incorporated them into the cards as well, something to fix your attention onto. Okay. So I'm going to dive into the suits now. So is everybody, any questions, or is everybody doing okay there? Okay. Okay, great. So first suit we're going to look at is the suit of wands. And I'm just looking at the chat. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Grace. We're looking at wands first, the suit of wands. And wands are connected with the element of fire. And in our deck, they're connected with that shape that you see there, the tetrahedron. So let's talk a little bit about wands. Okay, so when we talk about wands being connected to the element of fire, think about what is fire? What does the word evoke for you? What's the feeling of fire, right? So wands have that fiery characteristic of creativity and things that just want to grow and expand, right? And it's the connected with the area of spirit, I would say, for us, right? And as humans, so things that light you up, that fire in your belly, you know, we use expressions like that, right? Like fire in your veins, or hot-blooded, or that idea of the wands are like the spark of the divine that's within all of us. So when wands cards come up, there's a lot of passion and ambition, confidence, really feeling alive and engaged in what you're doing. And when we talk about getting to know the element of fire and how that's the world of wands there, fire is flexible and adaptable, right? Fire wants to move fast, usually, right? It's a feeling of impatience or urgency, and fire wants to move. And fire gives us light and warmth and that feeling of inspiration, but also fire can be wild, as we well know, right? Unpredictable and dangerous. And it can purify, but can also really clear things, perhaps more than we would like, right? So we always need to be mindful when we're talking about the elements of the benefits that they provide, and also perhaps the challenges or things to be aware of. So let's think about or consider the wands in the Unifying Consciousness Tarot. So in this card here on the screen, the Four of Wands, you can see our wands there. And these are not just dried out dead stick, right? These are magic wands. It's like having access to magic wands. And they're so full of life force that leaves are growing on them, almost jumping off of them, right? So they are alive and growing. And one of the additions that we made to the Unifying Consciousness Tarot is you'll notice a lot of the wands cards have this sort of violet tone to them, right? Rather than a fiery red. So that intention there was that we were infusing that suit with the violet flame, right? The transformational power of the violet flame, which is a high frequency violet light. And if you meditate on that violet flame, you know, aside from our deck as well, but if you just meditate on the violet flame, it raises your vibration, clears out negativity, and facilitates spiritual healing. So you can get that energy is a little bit different in our suit of wands. And let's consider the platonic solid, the shape that is associated with wands. So you can see it just sort of subtly in the background there. And it's the tetrahedron, so also known as a four-sided pyramid. And so consider that shape, you know, what does that imply to us, right? So it is fire, connected with fire, but it's got this flat base to support it. And then the sides are rising to a shared point. So we have this feeling of focus, right? And energy that's directed upwards, right? It wants to go up, it wants to expand, right? So if you meditate on this shape when you're working with the cards, or focus your attention on this shape, it encourages you to take action, right, towards your ambitions, pursue your passions, right? It helps you to focus that fiery energy and let it move you towards your goals and your desires. So let's take a moment to just take a breath and think about fire, right? And the thunder has just started rumbling here. So maybe we'll get some lightning to go with our wands here. But so think about fire. What does that word evoke for you? So not even like, aside from the tarot, if you think of the idea of fire, what is the first word that comes into your mind? So if you feel inspired, pop it in the chat and let me know, you know, what does fire feel like to you? What's the first word that comes into your mind? Oh, and Grace had already said spark. Yeah. Energy, passion, flame. Nice. Yeah. Warmth. Ignition. Yeah. Beautiful. And so if you have your deck handy, I encourage you, just like we've done previously, just spread them out, even like face up. If you don't mind kind of mixing them up, spread them out in front of you, face up, and just choose the first wands card that you see, right? The first wands card, and it might take you a little while to recognize them, you know, if you're still just getting to know the deck. But find the first Wands card that's jumping out at you and just look at the image there. Let your intuition speak to you, or let your gut, your feelings speak to you. Look at that image and what does it spark for you? How does it feel? What do you notice about it? Especially if you relate it back to the idea of fire. Right? And so same thing, if you feel inspired to do so, you can, in the chat, let me know the card that you drew, the number of the Wands card, and one word that it inspired for you. Yeah, and I see fire is also danger, and it's alluring. You want to reach into the fire. Yeah, fire is also danger, feels powerful. 7 of Wands feels powerful. Yeah. 8 of Wands, reaching. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. 3 of Wands, focus. You know. And dominion, nice. Ace of Wands, beginning. Lovely. Soul of Wands, head on fire, burning to create. Yes, I love that. Yeah. Oh, and the 6 of Wands, woohoo! Yeah. Definitely, I love it. That's definitely a woohoo card. I encourage, if you pull that card, you got to do that. Right. Okay. So let's continue on to the next suit. Is that cool with everybody? Yeah, cool. Okay. Okay, so now we're moving into the world of cups. So cups are connected with water and with the icosahedron shape. So what does that mean, right? So when we're in the world of water, we're in the world of the heart, right? Emotion, intuition, love, relationships, things that make you cry, right? That watery, that can be happy tears, it can be sad tears, right? Things that fill your cup, so to speak, right? And of course, when we talk about water, we're composed of water, right? We need it to live. It's nurturing, it's cleansing, but it can also be overwhelming. We talk about drowning. Well, you drown in water, you drown in emotions, right? Or water can sweep you away. So just like with fire, water can be really nurturing and gentle and cleansing. It always gets to where it needs to go, but it can also be a force that can drown or sweep you away. And boy, I feel like, this year, this summer, we are very much aware of the elements, particularly fire and water. Well, also no spoiler alert for the next ones, but they seem to be really trying to get our attention right now. Okay. And so, of course, like water, love is a necessity for us as human beings, right? And love can fill your cup, as I said before. It can also break your heart, harden your heart. And so the cups have a depth of feeling and emotions, and all of those, all over the highs and lows of emotion and love, that appears in the cups, not just the sweet stuff, not just the challenging stuff, but everything. And so let's have a look at the cup, the way that we designed the cup in the Unifying Consciousness Tarot, right? So a cup is a vessel, right? It holds space, it receives. It's different than that wand that we had before, right? So when you hold, like, imagine, I got to get myself a goblet that looks like this one. But imagine holding this cup, and it just encourages you, drink deeply of what's in there, gaze within it and see what you see, right? And when we were talking, Leo and I were talking about this suit with the cups and the idea of water. Water takes on the shape of the vessel that it's in, right? And so we like the idea that when you're reading with our deck, you can transform your consciousness the same way that water will take on the shape of the vessel. So if there's something emotional healing or something that you want to transform in your own heart, then this suit will certainly help you to do that. Right? And the cups are depicted in this way, made of solid gold, because gold is a precious metal and a symbol of spiritual perfection. Okay. So the Platonic solid, the sacred shape that is connected with the suit of cups, you can see there is the icosahedron it's made up of 20 equilateral triangles, right? So this is a shape like the cup. This is a shape that holds energy rather than directing it upwards, right? So holds space, holds energy. So if you meditate on this shape when you're working with the deck, it encourages you to understand your emotions, hold them and acknowledge them and flow with them, and to make your heart your sacred sanctuary for your own emotions, for your own feelings. Okay, so water, what does that word evoke for you? What's the first, and I'm like, it's starting to rain here. Right now it's evoking a thunderstorm and really interesting weather for me. So I'm getting but I think this is air. It's bringing the air suit in here too. But so water, what does that word evoke for you? If you want to pop something in the chat that tell me what's the first thing that comes into your mind with water. And same thing as before. I invite you to, if you've got your cards fanned out or laid out in front of you, find the first card that, oh, there we go. Thank you. Oh, lovely. I see tears, rain, amniotic fluid, beautiful. Yeah, no, I hope there will not be swords raining down later. We'll go through swords quickly. Snow, nature, and being in nature, beautiful. Yeah, lovely. And so, yeah, sorry. And like, as I said before, choose a cups card from your deck. Which one is jumping out at you? Which one just catches your eye, right? And what do you notice? How does it feel? Do you feel it in your gut? What do you notice about it? And so let me know which card that, oh, 10 of Cups, joy, I love that. 4 of Cups, centering, nice. Yeah, Heart of Cups, magical, beautiful. Oh, okay, lightning. That was a good one there. Okay, Soul of Cups, connected to the divine. Heart of Cups, tranquility, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So let's move forward. I'm experiencing wands and cups already with rain and lightning. So we're going to take a chance and move into swords. So swords are connected with the element of air and with the octahedron shape in our deck. So air, we're in the world of the mind, right? The mind. So how you think, how you speak, how you decide what is right and true for you, right? The world of ethics and truth, logical reasoning, articulate speech, and clear thinking, right? Hopefully, or it might be getting wrapped up in your thoughts, right? Or being a prisoner to your thoughts if they're not in balance. And so air, the element of air, it's seemingly intangible, right? But it's everywhere. And again, we need it to live. And it can be experienced as a gentle breeze or a tornado. And just like your thoughts, right? They can be gentle or they can be a whirlwind as well. And so thinking about the sword itself, so the sword is a useful tool, right? It can be a weapon, it can be something that defends you, it can be used for good, or it can be used for bad, right? For ill. So just like your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy, right? With the suit of swords, we want you to keep in mind that your thoughts create your world, right? So if you keep your thoughts in balance, then when you're working with the cards and in general, if you keep your thoughts in balance, then you'll be able to find a harmonious resolution to any conflict that presents itself, whether that's inner or outer, because the swords are often associated with conflict, right? But the kind of conflict that oftentimes comes down to communication and keeping your thoughts in balance. Yeah, cuts both ways, right? Yes, the sword cuts both ways. So having a look at our sword in the Unifying Consciousness Tarot, you can see that the cross guard on the hilt is my beloved all-seeing eye, because we want our swords to help you cultivate clarity of mind, right? Clear vision. And the shape that's associated with the suit of swords is the octahedron. So here we have two pyramids joining at their flat base, right? And so we have a different kind of energy here, right? It's still connected with air, but you can feel that energy circulates easily between those 2 points, right? Rather than being focused in one direction, I feel like there's circulation there. So if you meditate on this form, when you're working with the cards, it helps you to see all sides of yourself, right? And to reflect upon things and to reflect upon your truth and also express it. So, yes, yeah, swords are not, I see in the chat, swords are not all bad. They can be a real source of activation, right? Yes, yeah. Comes down to how we use them, right? If we open to communication or if we don't, right? Yeah. And the air, yeah. Nice. Okay. So same thing, just think about the word air. What does air evoke for you? What comes to your mind when you think about the word air, right? Outside of the tarot or related to the tarot. Yeah. Wind, freedom. Nice. Freedom, yeah, refreshing. Oh, interesting. Yeah, like a blowing away the cobwebs, right? And a breeze that clears things away. Fragrance, nice. Fragrance carried on the breeze. So same thing as we did before. Look at your cards laid out before you there and choose a swords card from your deck. Whichever one is kind of jumping out at you, trying to get your attention, poking at you. And what does your mind tell you? What's the first thought that pops into your mind? What do you notice? So what is, and if you want to let me know in the chat, let me know which swords card you chose and the word that it sparks. Yeah, Heart of Swords, truth. Yes, I love that card. Four of Swords, meditating, introspection. Soul of Swords, battle for spirit. Ooh, I love that. The four, think before you do. Yes. Yeah. So we've got one more. We've got one more, the fourth one, Pentacles. So bringing us back down to earth after all those going through the air, going through fire and air and water. Now the Pentacles brings us back down to the element of earth. And the shape that is connected with this suit is the cube or a hexahedron. Earth, right? So earth and the Pentacles are the body, right? Physical things. Things that you can touch and hold, the natural world around us, things that can give you comfort and pleasure or make you feel safe, right? Their Pentacles are practical resources like money, job, home, your energy, right? Your physical energy. And they often represent slow and steady growth, right? Like organic kind of growth that you can't rush, and results that come from hard work, consistent work, right? Slow and steady. And Pentacles are that solid earth beneath your feet that keeps you grounded and anchored. And when you're in that kind of a place, you get the confidence that you need to, the confidence in yourself that you can shape your physical reality. You can manifest what you desire. You can shape your environment into what you desire. And one thing that really always strikes me about the Pentacles as well is that in that world, there's really an understanding of the cycles of life and death and the consequences of time, right? That we're all subject to time. And also the beauty of the cycles of life and death and the necessity of it. So let's have a look at our pentacles in the Unifying Consciousness Tarot. So a pentacle is often represented as a shiny gold coin, right? Our shiny gold coin is inscribed with the flower of life symbol, the flower of life pattern. And again, that sacred geometry runs through all of our deck. But in this case in particular, again, we're trying to remind you that of the interconnectedness of everything that lives and grows on this earth, right? And that we're all part of this sacred pattern, right? That we all belong, we're all part of this beautiful growing and expanding pattern. Okay, and so the shape that we've associated with this, of course, the hexahedron or cube, which is also connected with Earth. This is the most stable of the shapes, right? It's 6 square faces equal in size, and it sits flat on the ground. So it isn't going to just move or roll away unless you toss it or something. But if you just leave it be, it's going to stay nice and flat and solid. So if you meditate on this form, it can bring you a feeling of grounding and help you connect with useful, practical wisdom, and also really feel supported by nature, like connecting with the earth herself and connecting with all of that supportive energy that is around us. Just looking at the comments here. So this card, I've included some images like this one that you see on the screen of the pentacle. They're not in the deck, but they're just to showcase the emblem of the suit. Okay. So you can get a good look at it. But interesting idea, Dodie. I think we could probably do something with that. Okay, so now bringing things full circle, let's think about Earth. So Earth, what does that word evoke for you? Right? What comes into your mind if we talk about Earth or an earthy person? Grounded, yeah, solid, supportive, anchor, beautiful. Wholesome, oh, I love that. Yeah, like something natural and wholesome. The here and now, yeah. Really being present, right? And so I invite you to do the same thing. Just look at your cards, spread out before you there. Find the first Pentacles card that catches your eye, right? And when you have a look at it, what does your body tell you, right? Do you feel it in your body somewhere? How does it feel? And what do you notice about the card? So take a moment to do that and enjoy that. And then if you want to share it, pop it in the chat. What card wanted your attention and one word that it inspires for you. Oh, Heart of Pentacles, Mother, perfect resonance, beautiful. 3, hopeful bounty. Oh, I love that. 6 of Pentacles, generosity, yes. 7 of Pentacles, we are all connected, beautiful. And 7 of Pentacles, perfecting, also resonance, beautiful. Soul of Pentacles, awe, yes. 6 of Pentacles, generosity, a lot of 6s. Heart of Pentacles, contentment, beautiful. Beautiful. So when you're working with the deck and the book that comes with the deck, in the section for the Minor Arcana, you'll see interpretations. So the interpretations give you a little bit of a description of the card, but also give you a starting point of what the card might mean if it shows up for you in a reading. And of course, it's a starting point that can be helpful as you get to know your own personal associations with the cards. And it also includes an activation. So you'll remember in the Major Arcana, we included a blessing. The Minor Arcana, we included an activation, because as I said before, I think the Minor Arcana give us a lot of opportunities to take action, right? They suggest beneficial actions because they are much more daily life and reminding us that we can direct things with our decisions and the actions that we take. So the activation that's included in the book gives you an idea of how to really tap into the energy of the card and can help you to find the action that you need to take to really activate the energy of the card, right? If it's desired, right? To move you towards what you desire, right? So it's just as with the blessing, you can use it as kind of an affirmation or a mantra in your meditation. Use it as a journal prompt, or just something to focus on. So now I'm going to move into talking about the court cards. So before I do, though, any questions on your mind, or take a breath before I go into the court cards there? Oh, okay. A few questions about color. So did the other suits have color concept like you did for wands? No. That's a short answer. Because I'm only saying it in that way because it's like naturally with the pentacles, there's going to be a lot of green and plants and that kind of thing coming out, you know. So I'm just looking at the chat. Yeah. So like the pentacles naturally has that atmosphere of plants and things growing, so there's a lot of green in it. And the swords, it's cool, right? There's a lot of blue in there and cool colors because that means air to us, right? So I mean, no is not exactly accurate. So there's a consideration of the atmosphere of it rather than being like every card needs to have a particular color associated with it, right? Yeah, what did I miss? And cups has a lot of rich color, like the gold is so rich, you know, a lot of blue in it as well, but we wanted to bring the warmth of the gold in it too. Okay, so shall we talk about the court cards? So if you're not so familiar with tarot, like just even to back it up a little bit, the court cards in the tarot are often called people cards, right? They are representing people, right? First and foremost. For me, 99.9% of the time, when court cards show up in your reading, they are you. They are you showing up in your reading, right? It could be your role in a situation, how you're behaving in a situation, whether that's beneficial or not, right? But it's showing you. And depending on the position in the spread, they may be suggesting the best attitude or approach to take in a particular situation, right? To move you towards your goals or what's going to be most beneficial for you, right? So they can be really powerful and really useful because they're showing you yourself. Okay. They're giving you kind of an outside or distance perspective on you, the person you should know best, right? But that may not be the case, right? Or you may not be seeing yourself clearly, right? So the cards can be really good at showing you, you know, this is you, this is your potential, your possibilities, how you're behaving, what's really working for you and what's not, right? Oh, okay. Sorry, I see a question there. If you're reading for someone else, do you mean the reader or the readee or someone else? Yeah. So if you're reading for yourself, the court cards are you usually, and not always. I will get into that as well. But the court cards, if you're reading for yourself, look for you in the court cards. If you're reading for someone else, it's that person, right, that you're reading for that's showing up in the cards, right? Yeah. And following on that, some of the comments I see there too. So on that note, right? So the court cards can show you your strengths, talents, and capabilities, right? Which we don't often see clearly. They can show you where you're having challenges too, and maybe where there's room for some attention. But I find generally they're showing you, wow, look at these strengths that you have, talents that maybe you're downplaying, right? And also the court cards being like these people energy cards, personalities, right? Personalities, characteristics. I think they often spark memories for us, right? And they help us unravel our own histories and mysteries, right? Through the court cards more than some of the other ones, right? And they reveal patterns of behavior, the court cards, behavior and thought that may be serving you well, which is great, or they may need to be shifted. So it's really useful to see them. And so if a court card clearly is not you, right? It could be someone else that's showing up in the reading. And just to give you the plain devil's advocate there, right? So of course it's natural that somebody else might show up in your reading, right? If you're asking about a relationship or your job or your friends or your family, and even you might be using a spread that has a particular position in it that's like outside influences or my partner or my, colleagues or whatever. So of course the court cards can be other people showing up in your reading. The only thing I would say is try not to default to that, right? Have a good, honest look at the court card and see if you can see yourself in there, right? Really spend some time doing that because it's way too easy to deflect it. Oh, no, that's someone else. But if you're sure, yeah, this really isn't me, or because of the position in the spread, then of course it can be someone else in the mix. Yeah. Just seeing in the comments here, yeah, sometimes it's myself, sometimes someone else, right? Yeah, and sometimes it can be very easy to recognize who it is, right? Oftentimes, like, oh yes, I know exactly who that is. Okay, so the court cards is an area that we changed quite a bit in the Unifying Consciousness Tarot. So the traditional ranks, I would say, the traditional ranks of the court cards are Page, Knight, Queen, and King, right? In the Unifying Consciousness Tarot, we changed that to Soul, Spirit, Heart, and Mind, right? And the reason that we did this, of course, right, is because those older traditional titles have gender and hierarchy woven through them, right? And by changing the look and the name of our court cards, we wanted to acknowledge that each of those court cards is really valuable and has its own wisdom and its own power. So not to say like a page is much less than a king or is less valuable, or just they're totally different energies, but they're all valuable and can teach us about ourselves. And we wanted to express the energy and the essence of the card without layering in that sort of feeling of hierarchy and gender. Okay. So let's have a look at our court cards, how we change them, right? So these are the souls. So pages became soul. And this is because I see them as the pure essence of the suit and of the element. There's no ego there. There's no experience there, right? It's just like the pure energy of that particular rank, right? And in general, pages or souls, they are like an energy of like a child or somebody who interacts with the world in a really youthful way. Everything is interesting and delightful and maybe scary because it's all new, right? So a lot of curiosity there and a lot of potential for growth and for learning, right? So a little bit of that fool energy, right? But then we always have to remember we're layering the element on it as well, right? So each soul is at heart has that energy to it, but they bring their own characteristics with their particular suit. And then we changed or transformed the knights into spirit, right? Because the knights and our suit or our rank of spirit, that the energy is what drives us to action, right? The spirit that makes us feel alive and engaged and says, I want to do this. I don't want to wait. They move things forward for us and drive us to action, Right? So that word spirit sort of resonated with us there, what speaks to your spirit and gets you moving, right? Spirit, they don't like to sit still. They don't like to stay in one place. And they are a little bit more mature or self-knowledge than the soul, but still they're not fully they're not fully mature, right? Okay. So then we transform the queens to heart. So the hearts are the source that nurtures and creates. So all of these cards, all of the hearts come from a place of compassion and nurturing, but also power, right? Power and responsibility and wisdom. Right? Mm-hmm. But at heart, they want to foster growth and expansion and learning, right? They're fully mature and at home in the element of their suit, but they always see possibility for more, for change, for growth. Mm-hmm. And then we change the kings to mind, right? Because I think the hearts and the minds are equal in power, but it's a different kind of energy, right? The mind, we have here the thinkers, the planners, the strategists, those who record and remember. The mind cards, they've reached a place of stability or achievement in their life and they want to hang on to it, right? Not much ruffles them. Like they can face stressful situations without getting too thrown off course, right? And they also, they take responsibility seriously, but they're a little bit more removed, right? A little bit like that sort of emperor energy, right? I should say to the hearts, they have a little bit of empress energy. The minds have some of that emperor energy too. And I think with the spirit, I would say maybe the chariot, that forward movement kind of energy. Okay. So take a moment again to look at your cards, right? If you have them in front of you, or look at the image that I have on the slide there, and just give a moment to consider those suits that we talked about, the suits connected with the various elements, and then talking about the ranks or titles of the court cards. And just from that even little brief introduction and brief getting to know them, is there one that really resonates with you? Like, can you see yourself in one of these cards? And if it isn't a particular suit yet, is there one rank? Like, is it the soul? Is it the spirit, the heart, or the mind that you think, yeah, that feels good. I see myself in there. You know how much I love the Heart of Wands, Grace. Yeah. Yeah, I know everyone loves the Heart of Wands. Mind of Pentacles. Oh, I love that. Yeah. I love the Mind of Swords. Yeah, that owl. Heart of Wands. Yeah, it's a lot of people resonate with that Heart of Wands, that power, that creativity is just crackling around that figure, that cat. Soul, I love the Soul of Wands also. Yes, that's one of my favorites too. So when you're getting to know, or maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but when you're getting to know the Minor Arcana, the numbered cards, and also the court cards, always keep that in your mind. What element am I in here? And what does that mean? What part of life is that? And if there's a number on it, we're going to talk about that next briefly, right? But think about the title or the rank, think about the element, because these are all things that are giving you clues to get to know the card. As it takes time to get to know all the images, but you've got all this material to help you get to know them. So, as I said, when you're getting to know the Minor Arcana, consider the suit and the element and the numbers and the rank. And I'm just going to really briefly talk about the numbers, right? because we have the cards that are numbered for a reason, right? And they're numbered from ace to 10. So that gives us two resources right there already, right? So we can look at the numbers as a sequence or a progression. And we can also think about the inherent number or inherent meaning of the number itself. So when I talk about the progression of the numbers, it's like a story, right? So the numbers that come up in your reading, like when you're reading the cards for yourself, pay attention to the numbers because they give you the idea of where you're at in the story, right? In your own story or that situation. So maybe you're at the beginning, maybe you're in the messy middle, maybe you're reaching the end of it, right? And think about the feelings that you associate with with beginnings, with middles, with endings, because they provoke a lot of emotion for us, right? And so just really briefly, when I'm thinking about that sort of arc, that story, if we think of from ace to 10 or from beginning, middle, and ending, when you're looking at the minor arcana that are like ace or 2, you know, right at the beginning, it's so exciting, right? There's possibilities and potential ahead of us. And maybe we haven't really faced any big challenges yet, right? It's just like, yeah, this is awesome and exciting. Let's get going, right? Then when we hit 3 and 4, then things are starting to come together, right? They're starting to solidify. Things are manifesting. You're building a foundation. So it's starting to feel pretty good, right? Pretty solid. Then when we hit the 5, that's the challenge. Those 5s in our deck, some of them are very hard for me to look at. They come up regularly for me as well. But the 5 is a challenge. It's the hump you got to get over. It's a test of your resolve. And they give you a lot of wisdom and guidance as well. But if you're not willing to look at them, then to look at them, to kind of assimilate them, then you're not going to be able to move forward, right? So it's in your best interest to kind of pay attention to them as well. But then when we flow past the 5s, we get to 6 and things come back into harmony and balance. We've gained wisdom from that challenge that we went through in the 5. We hit the 7s and the 8s. Things are taking on momentum. Your skill is really increasing at whatever you're doing. And it might be a good time to adjust, right? To think, are things going exactly as I'd like? Can I do a little bit of shifting this way or that way, right? Because you're getting in the home stretch of a situation at that point. Right? And then the 9, you've achieved something, an outcome is reached, and the 9's a really intense energy, right? Whatever the particular suit is, you are swimming in that energy and it's really strong, right? Then when we hit the 10, completion, right? You've fully completed something, so much so that you're already kind of partway going on to the next thing and probably leveling up and moving forward, right? So pay attention to the numbers that come up in your readings, because you might feel, where am I in that story, in that arc, right? Is the momentum carrying me forward? Am I facing a challenge? Have I just gotten through a challenge and I need to adjust from that, right? Because that can tell us a lot about what's going on. And then, of course, I'm not going to go through all of these in big detail here, but there are also associations with the number itself, right? So these are some that I work with, and they're similar to what I just went through with you, right? But sort of this feeling of aces or beginnings, 2, choice or partnership, 3, creation. So structure, challenge, harmony, very similar to what I said before, right? Adjustment for 7s, 8, movement, 9, culmination, 10, completion, right? So you can have a look and see, these are all in the book as well, right? But see what resonates with you, so that if particular numbers keep coming up for you in your reading, or if one reading has, there's a whole bunch of 4s in here, right? You get a sense of what that means. Or if you see patterns of numbers and how do they fit together, right? And also, I think I mentioned this, yeah. So pay attention to repeating numbers, right? and what that means to you. And also look for lucky or favorite numbers. Like I love that when I'm reading for someone and their reading is full of 8s or something, that, oh, that's my lucky number. That means, and so it's like, yeah, well, okay, tell me, what does that mean to you? And there's a connection, or the number itself might be associated with a particular event. Or so pay attention if your lucky numbers, favorite numbers, numbers that you have particular associations come up for you, challenging or unlucky numbers, right? So you can use the ones in the book to give you a place to start, but also pay attention what those numbers mean to you. Okay, so that was cool, lightning introduction to the Minor Arcana, right? So any questions or any comments? As I'm being mindful of our time here, so anything, I'm going to look in the chat. Oh, thank you so much. Nice comments there. Yeah. So one last small thing before we go, if you have time to have a look. So in the first class, I asked everybody to choose a card from the deck, right? So if you came to the first class, or if you watched the recording, think about that card that you chose, because that was your guide for our 3 classes together, right? And I encouraged you to kind of use it as a touchstone or go back to it in the weeks in between our classes. So reflect upon that card. And in light of everything we talked about in class number 2, class number 3, and the time you've had to kind of percolate on them, have any further messages been revealed? Okay. So you can take a moment to think about that for yourself, or if you want to share it, then type in the chat your card and one word or message that it's kind of leaving you with after our time together. And also if you're not at that point yet, I encourage you to do that after we finish the class, or think about, go back to that card and think, why did this one come up for me? And what does it have to say to me about how I'm going to work with the Unifying Consciousness Tarot? Oh, the Moon Journey, beautiful. Yeah. I love it. 8 of Swords. I know why the caged bird sings. Beautiful. Hermit is a time to be by myself and explore my creativity and learn new skills. Gorgeous. Yeah. And so going forward, right? I encourage you to read with the cards, right? Read with the Unifying Consciousness Tarot. Try out the spreads that are in the book, right? Try out your favorite spreads, create your own spreads. It's all good, but don't be afraid to just read with the cards. And you can use my book to guide you, and you can also use your intuition, but that's the best way to get to know a deck, right? Is to actually work with it. Right? So read the book and get to know your own response to the cards, your own relationship with them, right? And just have fun getting to know your deck. Right? And I encourage you to try out the spreads that are in the book, because time just flies tonight, but maybe in the future I need to do another one, just take another class going through some spreads together, because I really like the ones that I created for the book. But in any case, read the cards. And on another note, please, if you're on Instagram, follow us on Instagram at Unifying Consciousness Tarot, because that's where I'll be posting news, doing some lives, tips and techniques for working with the deck. And I invite you to email me at unifyingconsciousnesstarot@gmail.com, unifyingconsciousnesstarot@gmail.com, and let me know what you want, what you need. I see somebody in the comments asking about future courses. I would love to do that. So if there's a particular topic that you're interested in, let me know. You can also sign up for our newsletter, and that information is on our Instagram account as well, and Facebook account. Yeah, I know, Grace, I have gamer friends too, and they just love the dice in the deck, right? It's a gamer deck, yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. It's been such a pleasure sharing this time with you and being able to talk about this deck that Leo and I created together from our heart and souls. And we can't even tell you how exciting and how moving and wonderful it is that people love the deck. You know, it means so much to us, right? So thank you so much for your support. And please and have fun and enjoy working with the deck, and let us know how it sings for you, how it resonates with you. And again, let me know if you have any kind of courses or information or anything that would be helpful for you to continue your work with the cards. Yeah, thank you so much. So I am going to stop sharing and stop recording. So thank you so much, everyone. It's been such a pleasure. May you be guided by the unifying consciousness of love.